Hey, welcome to this course. We're going to go through the core things that you need to be aware of in order to navigate the course. First of all, the Moodle site should be your central location. That's where everything else in the course is linked through. And it's important you check each week to make sure you're hitting all the points on Moodle in order to get the full experience of the course. That Another way of looking at that is I won't ever require anything that's not somehow described on the Moodle. So you can rest safe that as long as you're staying up to date on the Moodle and everything described there, then you're fine overall in the course. So this course information bar will always be here throughout the course. Gives my name, my email address, office phone. I realize that many of you are at the Lancaster campus or perhaps even further away from Lancaster and main campus. In an online course, virtual office hours are the norm, and it's very possible for us to set up something. Don't be intimidated. I know a lot of you haven't done virtual office hours before. But just contact me via email if you reach a point where you really feel you want some face-to-face discussion on something. I can also show you things on the computer screen that way. The syllabus is up here, so you can click there for the link. Grading rubric, you'll have discussion forums, journals every week. If you want to know how they're graded on a 20-point week, you can click here. On the other weeks, it tends to be more of a completion grade. And more on that in the syllabus. Okay, the most important thing is this navigation bar over here. Every week, a new weekly link will become available. You're not going to be able to see all these, but I will make them available typically around Thursday before the actual week. So Thursday of week 1, I would tend to have week 2 visible. The reason I don't make them all visible at the beginning is because research has found, and I've found in previous courses teaching, that it's nice to have everyone roughly around the same pace, and it's also important to continually deepen the learning you're doing instead of trying to go in brief bursts and then times when you're not working with statistics at all. Tends not to be as effective. So each week you'll have one of these weeks to click on. Just click on that, and that will give you several things. So for week 1, for example, you'll have your due date up here, which will always be Sunday at midnight for everything except the responses to classmates' discussion forums. Why is that? There will be some people who wait until Sunday evening, even though it's not advised, to post on the discussion forums. So if I'm requiring you to respond to their posts, it doesn't really make sense for that to be due Sunday night. So everything is due Sunday night except for responses to your classmates' posts, and those will be the Wednesday of the following week. The general weekly layout will follow this read, focus, explore, reflect, and discuss structure. So the reading will typically have something from the online stat book. There will be a few other sources throughout the course. When possible, I'll try to give you a text or video option for any given reading, and feel free to choose either one, just depending on what your learning style is. One nice thing about the texts is they tend to have some practice questions, like a little practice quiz, so you can make sure that you've digested the information. So if you do tend to be a visual person, watch the video and then maybe click in on the text and scroll all the way to the bottom and just take some of those quizzes anyway, just to help yourself know whether or not you're getting the main points. The next is the focus section, and this is the hands-on. It's always going to be a spreadsheet. If you go into your Google Drive, either through clicking in your email, clicking on these 9 dots, and then clicking on Drive, you'll see a section that says shared with me, and I'm going to share the journal and the spreadsheets. So right here, shared with me. You should be able to access the spreadsheet. Let me know if not. This section will require quite a bit of time for you if you haven't done spreadsheets before, especially at the beginning, the first few weeks. The good news is you'll come out of it with a lot more ability in using spreadsheets in general, but especially with statistics. If you have used sheets before, these will probably go a bit more quickly for you, but do expect to run into some obstacles along the way. This is pretty typical with any kind of technology, certainly with spreadsheets. When you hit that, remember that you should first just Google or do an internet search for an answer to your problem. Say, why can't I blah, 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 or how do I blah, blah, blah. Even if you get the answer about Excel, it'll almost always translate well to Sheets. The other thing you can do is go up here and post something on our spreadsheet tips forum. You can either post a question for classmates to answer, or if you figure something out using a search or something that you were running into an obstacle for a while and then found an answer, post it there on that forum. There are some bonus points associated with that, but more importantly, I want this to be a place where you can share ideas and questions about the spreadsheet assignments. After the focus task, there's a couple explores. The explore section will take a while some weeks, but these are more the fun, showing where this statistics connects with your life. So the focus was how to use it, but the explore actually shows how it is being used, this aspect of statistics in the real world. And there's some really fun things in here, but these are required. Let me make that clear, and they are often covered in the quiz at the end of the week. But do keep in mind also, if you were not taking it online, you'd be sitting in class for 3 hours a week, and the Explore tends to replace some of that, hopefully in a more interesting way than a lecture would. The journal, towards the beginning of the course, you'll typically have journal prompts. Again, you can click on this link, or you can go in through your Google Drive, the shared with you file. You'll add every week's entry to that same document so we can see a progression over time. These are public within our class, but not outside of our class. You will be reading and offering some feedback and thoughts on classmates' journal entries. Towards the end of the course, this will be more free to write about whatever happens to be on your mind related to this topic. Then there's a quiz. You will have 2 attempts every week. Top score is recorded in the gradebook. Really important, after you take your first attempt, please note that you can review, and if you look up at the left of any given question, you'll see what your score was out of 2 points. And if it's a 0 out of 2, that means you got the question wrong. If it's a 2 out of 2, it means you got that question right. And if it's something in between, it means you got partial credit. So I would strongly recommend taking note of that before you attempt it for the second time, and then modifying your answers accordingly. You can also use resources from the week, from the Moodle, as you take your quiz. You'd probably have to have another window open. You cannot use other people. You can't ask people. That would be considered cheating. But do feel free to use any other resources from the Moodle as you take your quiz. And finally, be sure you review your quiz then after the week is over. So the answers themselves won't show up until the following week, until everyone's taken the quiz. But when they do, please go back and check. I think that tends to be really helpful for knowing what your misconceptions were, and also for studying for the final. Finally, discuss section. There'll just be some kind of, if you click on this, we'll see here, some kind of assignment of what you have to post. Typically there's a word limit because you will be able to see your word count as you're making your post, and then you'll be responding to classmates' posts also. So that's the gist of the course. Again, the Moodle is the main central location for everything. Just let me know if you have questions.